The International Crime Court in Hague gave a green light to investigate Israel for war crimes. With a majority of voices, the International Court's judges decided that Palestine is a member state that allows them to open an investigation about Israeli war crimes. As a result of this decision, government officials and army commanders and soldiers might face criminal proceedings or even international arrest warrants. And if to take it a step forward, the UN might decide to put economic sanctions on Israel or even send military forces here. I remember that back in his days, Prime Minister Ben-Gurion said that it doesn't matter what the world says, what matters is what are the Jews going to do. And the question is, was Ben-Gurion right, or that today we have to do things differently? Ben-Gurion is right. The only question is, do we have the inner strength and a consent within the nation that this is how we have to relate both to ourselves and the world, and toward our obligation to the nation and the world. If we know how to correctly arrange ourselves, then, of course, we don't have to mind the UN or all of these organizations. In recent years, the United States watched our back in the UN Security Council and so on. Now there's a new government there, and who knows, where's it all headed? What do you think awaits the State of Israel and its complicated relationship with the UN? I think that it is to our benefit. Really? Yeah? Because then there's hope that we might learn how much we have to change, how much we have to become more responsible for what goes on with us and the rest of the world, that precisely with all the international pressure on us, the time has come for us to get ourselves together and understand what is our role in the world and why does the world treat us in such a global anti-Semitic way. What do you mean by getting ourselves together? For us to understand, why does the world hate us? What is the reason for anti-Semitism? What is the real reason for anti-Semitism? Ask people, they'll tell you why they hate us. I don't have to ask them. They don't know anything. Who's to blame for the appearance of anti-Semitism in the world? That's a good question. For me, it's not a question. It's like the chicken and the egg. No. I 100% agree with the nations of the world about it. That the Jews, that Israel, are to blame for being hated. Why? Because we're not realizing our role. How does the wisdom of Kabbalah define our role in its realization in the world? To be light unto the nations. You ever heard about it? We all heard about it. It says so in the Torah. What is light? Light is the force of connection, of love. This is what we have to show the world. That this is what exists between us. Between us, not the nations of the world, between us. That if the nation of Israel will reach a state where instead of arguing about politics and whatnot, that the only thing that we'll be concerned with is our connection, according to the law of love covers all crimes, then the entire world will calm down. Everyone will take us on their hands and will say, the Lord has done great things for them. Yeah, but it's an unsolvable challenge. Jews, by nature, they're opinionated. Everyone thinks that they can be the prime minister and the chief of staff and whatnot. We want to rise above our own reason to the reason of the upper. What does it say in the book of books? Love your neighbor as yourself. This is the law. If you want to come to that, things are going to be great. If not, everyone's going to eat us alive. So, if we reach love another as yourself right here, everything will work out. Everything all around the world will work out. And this is why all the nations of the world are blaming us for harming everyone. A person loves himself. What do you mean to love another? A person, he loves himself, and it's natural. Or a person to love himself with his intellect, then he treat the other person out of his own intellect with connection. Why? Because then he understands that only that way can he benefit himself. Why? Because we're all connected to one system. This is what we don't see, that we're connected to one system. right? We don't want to acknowledge it. And if we grasp this idea here, will it spread? This means to be light onto the nations? Yeah? And we have to do it forcefully. You can't build two synagogues in order to go into the one and refuse to go into the other. And this is what we're doing all the time. That's our destruction. Yeah? So what's going to happen with the International Crime Court in Hague or with the UN in general? They'll keep putting pressure on us from different directions. And maybe, as a result of that, along with our explanation, we'll be able to move the nation of Israel a bit more toward the understanding that it's all in our hands.